Let's talk about healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most important 2 to 3 issues affecting America at large. And whatever issue you care about, I've talked about this before. If you care about reproductive rights, if you care about education, if you care about foreign policy, what are the most important overarching issues that will impact your ability to be active in your community? Number one, how politics are financed, because that is so much of how we get the positions we get from our elected officials. How we learn about issues is influenced through media, which directly relates to money in politics. So money in politics impacts just about every political issue that might be important to you. And healthcare impacts it as well, because if you're not healthy, if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Pat, to become self-actualized, which is at the top of the pyramid of those needs, you need basic physical security. You can't be wondering where your next meal is coming from. And you need to know that you're going to be able to get healthcare when you need it. So healthcare, much like money in politics, do you agree, Pat? It informs any issue that is important to you.
Yeah, it's the one that trumps all other issues, you could say.
Trumps, for lack of a better term. So what's going on with the American Health Care Act? Well, Senate Republicans have been drafting the new version of the American Health Care Act, basically in secret. I told you last month that the bill was passed by the House. It hadn't even been analyzed by the Congressional Budget Office. Republicans threw a party at the White House to celebrate. Eventually, the CBO analyzed it. It was an absolute and total disaster. Tens of millions of people would lose health care. Senators said, we're going to clean it up. We're going to transform it into something that everybody's going to like better. And now it is in the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he wants to put it before a vote before the Senate recesses. Their last day is June 30th, next Friday, before their 4th of July week recess. There are 13 Republican senators currently working on it. Really, it's their staffs that are working on it. They're not showing it to anyone. It's been total secrecy. They haven't had any public hearings about it. They haven't even shown it to other senators. Republican senator from Tennessee, Bob Corker, said to the New York Times, quote, "The process is better if you do it in public and that people get buy-in along the way and understand what's going on. Obviously, that's not the route that is being taken." Rand Paul, Republican senator from Kentucky, commented saying, quote, "I think it's being written by someone somewhere, but I'm not aware of who or where. If you get a copy of it, will you send me a copy?" Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, 2 other Democratic senators sent this sort of trolling satirical letter listing 31 different physical places where they could potentially hold a hearing on this. Listen, Pat, I guess healthcare is just one of those unimportant minutia issues that doesn't really need to be discussed publicly. I mean, it's healthcare after all. It only affects every single person in the country and 1/5 of our economy.
I mean, to defend Rand Paul a little bit here, I don't think he would be one of those Republican senators who would vote in favor of this bill.
Yeah.
Not because, he's this progressive champion criticizing it from the left as we are,
Sure.
but because he's criticizing it from the right.
Maybe. I mean, it's we don't know what's in it. We just don't know what's in it. And we've now heard that tomorrow afternoon, Republicans are going to release the bill to their fellow Republicans. In other words, the 13 Republicans working on it will make it available to everybody, and they want to vote on it in a week. You need time to read through it. You need time to do amendments. You need time to debate those amendments. But let's go back to what Republicans say about this strategy. Mike Pence in 2010, when he was a congressman, tweeted about this, saying, quote, "It's simply wrong for legislation that'll affect 100% of the American people to be negotiated behind closed doors." Of course, then he was talking about Obamacare, not the American Health Care Act. A tweet from Senator John McCain in 2009. "Democrats about to pass health care bill that no one's read. Where is the transparency? What a disgrace." Current Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, also back in 2010 when he was a congressman, saying, quote, "With Democrats discussing health care in secret, they're sacrificing the trust of the American people." The entire Senate, as I mentioned, will get to see the bill tomorrow. The political complexity now is starting to become a factor, Pat. Campaigning did Donald Trump basically his entire campaign on repeal and replace Obamacare. The reality is you kind of can't repeal it and replace it with something more right wing and not either increase the cost or decrease access, because after all, Obamacare is right wing. I don't know if I'm spilling a secret, Pat. Obamacare is right wing, saying we are going to mandate that people buy for-profit insurance plans, and we will allow the for-profit insurance companies to submit plans to this system where people can select a plan. That's a right-wing idea. And so you can't move healthcare to the right and improve it the way Donald Trump says you can.
Obamacare sure did start out as a right-wing plan, but now you have this House healthcare plan, which is even worse. Only 21% of Americans approve of it. And Donald Trump even called it mean. So I think, the Senate plan will be a lot more moderate, and Trump gave it a rousing endorsement saying that he thinks it will be generous, kind, and with heart.
But he also said it needs to be, generous, kind, and with heart. Right, yeah, with heart. What does that even really mean? I guess he means
That's a Trumpism.
It won't directly lead to the deaths of tons of people, but it will indirectly do so. I guess that's considered having heart. I don't know. Funny note about this, Bloomberg asked Republican Senator John McCain if he had seen the bill, and he said, quote, "No, nor have I met any American that has. I'm sure the Russians have been able to hack in and gotten most of it." I don't know that Russia even really needs to hack it, right? I wouldn't be totally shocked to learn that Trump faxed the Kremlin a copy. He talks a really big game as far as his credentials and blah, 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 blah. And then he just spills just about anything that's going on to Russians. But John McCain, in spite of, I guess I would say, despite being tough on Trump with the Russia stuff, he still votes with Trump 90% of the time. He spent that entire James Comey hearing talking about Hillary's emails. I agree with what John McCain is saying here, but his actions are not really being tough on Trump.
And apparently John McCain is on Snapchat. Who knew? I mean, you take a look at the Twitter profile picture. That's a Snapchat icon.
Filter. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. John, well,
you gotta
news
follow
to
him.
me. I didn't know about it.